Hello and welcome to another Writerly Witterings with me, Michael Jecks, tea drinking author, enjoying a cup of Sainsbury's. Not very special, but who cares? Today, looking back at some old stuff again, I thought it was about time I spoke again about this. Delfts Blauw from PV Ackerman. Here you go. Little description and address and stuff. It's a gorgeous ink. I love several things about this ink. One is the quality of the packaging you get, which is just glorious. Really nice, thick, good quality cardboard. And inside you get this delightful little old-fashioned ink bottle. Here you are. That's an ink bottle. It says PV Ackerman Delfts Blauw, and it's a strange sort of a bottle because I'm just going to empty the top here. Now, you may be able to see there that in the top there is a marble. And I'll explain this for those of you who haven't used an ink bottle like this. This is a very old style of bottle indeed. Not just for ink, this is how you used to get things like beers and lemonades and the like, because you've got the main bottle here, then you've got this little additional bit on the top, and the marble sits in this little additional bit. Why have a marble? Well, because when you want to fill your pen, all you do is you tip the bottle so that the marble falls down, and you see all of a sudden the ink flows in there. Turn it up quickly and the marble stops the ink from falling back. And then all you have to do is unscrew the lid and dip your pen of choice, Conway Stewart Model 58 again, in the top. Like so. I'm just going to have to put this down so I don't throw ink all over myself. But here we go. Lever out, pen in the bottle of ink, lever back, and just leave it in there for a couple of seconds. I normally do it for the count of 10 or so, and that way the reservoir, which is just a sack of silicone, rubber or latex or whatever, has time to accommodate sucking up some ink against atmospheric pressure. And you put the lid back on the bottle, and if you're so inclined you can allow the ink, just tilt the bottle a bit, the marble will move out of the way and most of the ink will flow straight back into the bottom again, like that. A simple, very elegant way of filling your fountain pen. And the great thing about these Ackerman inks is that all of them come in this type of bottle. Now, I can vouch for the fact that if you're a little bit clumsy, you might have an accident. So for example, I left a bottle of Israel Blauw on my desk, which is great. It's a nice desk. It's that one over there that you can't quite see because it's there, just off screen. But it's a very good desk for writing on. It's a very good desk for presenting stuff. It's at about 30 to 40 degrees from true, so it's handy to write on. And that means, oddly enough, it's just the right angle for you to put a bottle of ink on it, and the bottle will stay there while you walk out of the room to make a cup of coffee, and then as you go, it'll slowly slide down apparently and hit the floor. Now, I didn't know about this until my Rhodesian Ridgeback, who had her bed directly opposite my desk, came into the kitchen while I was making said cup and she had blue all over her. And I tried to work out how on earth she could have got this strange sort of colouring. It was only when I came back in here I discovered ink all over the floor, ink over her bed, ink on my chair, basically ink everywhere. It's quite impressive. So that led to an instant need to buy another bottle of Israel's Blauw, because I do love it. It's a sort of very dark teal, gorgeous colour if you haven't tried it. And it comes in a bottle very similar to this, but considerably larger. So all in all, a very successful day of filling an ink bottle, a very successful day of destroying an ink bottle that was full of probably the most expensive ink I had bought at that stage of my life. And so I ordered another bottle of that as well as some of this, because I thought if I'm paying for the postage from Holland, I might just as well get my money's worth. So I ordered this at the same time, and the two came to a significant sum of money. They're not cheap. However, I do think that they're gorgeous. Now look at this colour. Whoa. Very pale blue, sort of like Diamine China blue, but with slightly darker colouring, which I think makes it more appealing, and with superb shading. So in summary, I say I love the shading, I love the flow of the ink in my Conway Stewart, and I love the colour. Really, really superb light blue ink. Do I have reservations? Yes. It is not waterproof. Actually, it's not as bad as some. I just licked my finger and let's try that again. Do that. So it's not as bad as some, but I think that would make things get illegible very quickly where you didn't have the darker shading. So it's not waterproof for those of you who care. I don't. It can be a fast drying ink. That can be good, but it does mean in hot weather I have found that some of my pens, the Pineda for example, finds it quite difficult to cope with. And there's been times when I've been using the Pineda with it when I've had some very hard starts indeed. And this pen is a gusher. This pen does not give hard starts. So it's something to be aware of. I have to admit that's not a problem I've ever experienced with this. It seems to be able to put down a good quantity of ink every time. And I think the reason for that is that the Pineda has got a highly flexible nib. It is, I think, Dante Del Vecchio, who had designed the pen and the nib, calls it a hyperflex, which is great, but it means that generally it's effectively an extra fine nib, which can then flex to allow for much more ink flow. But that means when you're starting, it's working as an extra fine, and I think that means that the feed will dry out faster with an extra fine setting. This, on the other hand, is a standard broad nib, so it's already waiting with a good flow of ink in the nib whenever you take the cap off. But that could be completely wrong. If you've got any ideas, please put them in the comments down below, because I'd be interested to see your views. But I have to admit, I just love this little pen anyway, so why would I worry? I love the pen, I love the ink, they work together extremely well. But I thought it was worthwhile mentioning that slight proviso that maybe if you've got a pen that is an extra fine, it may not be so happy. That's up to you to check. But certainly in terms of quality of packaging, in terms of the superb ink bottles, I really love this ink, as I do the Israel's Blauw. Now, there are more things coming up. I am in the middle of, well, I've just hit the first third of my latest book, which is all about Piacenza. taking a bit of time to write, but it does mean that I'm being a bit restricted on what I can do and talk about as videos. So I'll apologise for the fact I am going to be going over some things which I may have spoken about already, but it's probably things like this that I haven't spoken about for about 5 years. So, you know, if you haven't watched the videos all the way from the beginning, maybe it's going to be something new for you. Good. And if you like that concept, and if you like this video, do please hit the like button down the bottom, because it makes a huge difference. Just hitting the like button means that more people are likely to see my videos because they're promoted more to other people. So that's very nice. If you've got time, there's also a subscribe button and a bell for notifications and all that stuff. But if you want to support the channel and me, you can always go straight down and give me a super thanks, or buy me a coffee, or even join my Patreon group if you're so inclined. If you're not particularly bothered but you're interested in Conway Stewart pens, I'm apparently a brand ambassador for Conway Stewart now. Gosh, that means if you buy a Conway Stewart pen by using the link that's down below, you'll get a discount. What's not to like? And now, having said all that, just a couple of videos of dogs behaving badly. Currently I've got one asleep with her head on my foot. That's the little puppy. She is the most destructive puppy we've ever had. She ate another bit of floor last night. She's over a year old and she's still eating everything. Bloody dogs. Take care. Speak to you soon. Have a great week, and I'll be back in a week's time. Was that fun, little girl?